and we are live right now. My name is Joe Robert, and I'm the president of Winning World, and also the host of the Business, Entertainment, Technology, and Prophetic Proclamation Summit. We trust that you'll be blessed in an amazing way. You know, some people wonder why we're hosting summits like this. That's because we believe that you should be equipped, you should be empowered for whatever the universe has called you to do. And then our target is to reach over 1 million souls by virtue of this summit. And that's why uh, before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge and thank special partners and sponsors that had given to make words we would to do a reality. And by this, I'll be displaying a slide that would I'll be displaying a slide to honor and thank our bronze or sponsor from Nigeria, also Sandra Road and Wisdom Pumps for the United States for being a silver sponsor, and also the highly esteemed Mr. Morgan Hill for being a good sponsor, and also the Royal Ambassadors Ministry for being a a sponsor, and Edward Venice, he did a website for Winning World. Thank you so very much, sir. And also Anonymous Dono for the studio lights. All these things that they had given, we used to get a studio and also get a laptop, and also we are amazing. More and more people are tuning in from different parts of the world. You're welcome. So, and we are hoping to get other equipment so that we can have a more standardized studio to reach the whole world on a more maximum scale. So, thank you so very much, our global partners. And before I continue, I love to make welcome um, I'd love to make welcome the president of Excellence Network, the founder of Kingdom, Clarion Core, husband, father, grandfather, mentor, life coach, coach trainer, and co-host. We're talking about no other person but the most highly esteemed Dr. Kiro. Most welcome, sir. We love you.
Well, good evening, good night, good morning, happy new year all around the world. 2022 is here, and God is going to make all things new. Like Joel Roberts said, I didn't catch his name in the beginning, but he may have given it. That's Joel Robert Roll, my son, and we are so proud of you, a 25-year-old man that has this vision to go and to do this platform and to win the world. And we're using technology yesterday through the business, and this summit is business, entertainment, and technology. We had entertainment and technology. Danielle Guller, who's a producer, writer, music artist, also a former NBA champion 2 times with the LA Lakers and the Miami Heat. And he's also a chaplain, Apostle Billy Thompson, doing what you love. And then Edward Venters, who did a pro bono website for Winning World. So you'll be able to send emails and see the content of all that Joel is doing. And also today we have three esteemed and illustrious presenters. And I've worked with Morgan for 20 years. I worked with Franco and Diario. They've spoken at our Miles Monroe Kingdom Leadership Summit. So you're in for a treat all around the world. And we want to thank our alliance partners that have given and were sponsors for today's conference so that we can get the equipment. Joel has leased the studio, and we've talked to StreamYard, this platform. You can see the beautiful backdrop due to our using them frequently. They bumped us up. So you're going to fly first class this year, Joel, and all of our listeners around the world. So let's go and let's bring in the first speaker, none other than Morgan Hill. Morgan Hill is my friend. He's my brother from another mother, husband to Holly, philanthropist, educator, missionary, mentor, author, and he'll tell you about his books that you can get a free ebook after his presentation later on. He's a community advocate and advocate. So he's going to be talking about your business and the Beatitudes. Let's welcome Morgan Hill to the BET Summit.
Well, Joel, it's always an honor to be with you. Dr. K, gosh, it goes without saying that we get a chance to do ministry on a regular basis. And then also my partners here on the line. It's just I'm eager to hear from the other speakers tonight. So it's just a real privilege to be in great company. And again, from around the world, welcome. You know, as I was praying about what to share, what really came to my spirit is our businesses and the Beatitudes. And let me kind of unpack this. You know, in Matthew 5-7 is what we know as the Sermon on the Mount. It's the Beatitudes, where overlooking actually the Sea of Galilee, if you actually go where the Sermon on the Mount was preached, Jesus gave this sermon overlooking this beautiful backdrop. And if you read through Matthew 5-7, what you often hear Jesus say is, "It has been said, but I tell you." And, you know, he was turning the people's thinking kind of upside down because they knew one way that they had been taught. And Jesus said, "No, I bring you another message." And I look at this from a business perspective as the world says this, but Jesus says something else about how we should be running our businesses. Now, at the end of the Beatitudes in Matthew 7, and probably my other cohorts won't need their glasses. They're younger and their eyes are better, but I'm going to put my glasses on because I never want to misquote Jesus. It says in Matthew 7, starting in verse 24, Jesus says, "Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came and the streams rose and the winds blew and beat against the house. Yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down and the streams rose and the wind blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash." You know, as I kind of reflected on building on sand and building on the rock, a question kind of came to me that I want to pose to the audience around the world, especially those that are in business or thinking about getting into business. And here's the question: how are we building our businesses on the rock that is the Lord to honor and glorify him every day in what we do in our business? How are we building on the rock? And so I actually was jotting some notes. Let me just share briefly. As I sit here today, my wife Holly and I celebrated our 20th. First of all, we've been married almost 20 years, but our business, Hill & Hill Financial, just celebrated its 20th year in 2021. Now in 2022, going into our 21st year. We're privileged to work with families in about 25 states and a couple of countries, actually, helping people get to and through this thing called retirement successfully. You know, all those things about healthcare and legal and tax and all those things that we all build to this thing called retirement, right? Well, as actually right behind me, as we prayed many years ago about what would be the principles that would guide us, the Lord gave us 4. And I want to share these 4 principles because from my perspective, these 4 guiding principles are the stakes that we drive into the rock. Now, one of the things that I found interesting is, I don't know if anyone's ever tried to like beat a nail into rock or concrete versus put something in the sand. Putting something in the sand is easy. It doesn't last. It washes away, but it's easy. Putting something, nailing something, securing something like a rock climber, beating those spikes into the rock to secure, it's hard. So what I'm getting ready to share with you are 4 principles that are by no means easy. And as I get ready to share these 4 principles, you might see the backdrop. This is really one of the few offices in our building in Georgia that is intact. 2 days before Christmas, a few weeks ago, we had a contractor coming in doing some work and he was being careless. And so he stepped on a water pipe in our ceiling that controls the water system for fire protection. The water gushed, it flooded our building and destroyed half of it. And the buildings, as I sit here right now, the ceilings collapsed. Our building was partially destroyed. And I literally am in the only room that is somewhat workable. So as I share these principles, I'm sharing from a perspective of right here. We met earlier today, my wife and I, with contractors. Some frustrating times to try to get back up and getting operational. So these are things that are not just words. I'm living them right now. Let me share the first one, and there are 4. The first is we trust God. That's not just a platitude. And as I sit here right now, my wife and I, a few hours ago, were praying in this very room because we're struggling with, you know, everything was going great. It was the end of our 20th anniversary. And someone made a careless mistake and flooded our building and destroyed half of it. The world says to trust yourself. I can do this. But we know that God and God alone is the only source of our success when times are good, our comfort when times are bad. And as I shared, right now, we're in the middle of a very difficult situation. I tried to make it as nice as possible. I put my suit on for today's session because I wanted to be professional. But a few hours ago, I was in sweatsuits and t-shirts and ball caps talking to people, and it's been tough. But here's what I know is that God can be trusted. He is sovereign, he is omnipotent, he is omnipresent, and he is all powerful. It's easy to kind of talk about everything being good when there are no storms. And so what I know is as we beat this one spike deep into the rock that is Jesus, we're holding tight to our trust in God. And that's not just some words on a piece of paper. We're living it right now. The second guiding principle, this other rock, stake in the rock, if you will, is to bless others. You know, it's real easy. Jesus talked about, it has been said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you to love your enemy. Well, as I sit here right now, we're praying for the person who did this to us, the damage that he caused, because he's gone on about his business. Didn't harm him. He's not liable. He's not responsible. There are insurance companies and whatnot. But we're praying that God would heap blessings on this man, even though he was flagrantly careless and harmed us in a great way. Again, it's real easy to say, I love people who love me. But God is putting us to the test to say, okay, when times are tough, are you going to lean hard into me and trust me? And are you going to be a blessing to others in the midst of trial and tribulation? There could be those of you, and I just want to speak right now, there could be those of you that are listening right now that are in the midst of what my wife and I are going through. Our staff is going through. It's easy to love those who love you. It's hard to love those who have harmed you and hurt you. I'm just a man on his walk with Jesus, sharing with other brothers and sisters. The world says, do them wrong. Jesus said, I'm going to say something different. Bless others, love others. That's our second foundation that our business rides, that sits on. The third is about delivering excellence. I love this one because this is what Dr. K is all about. Anyone who spent any time with Dr. Keith Roll knows that he's about excellence. The Excellence Network, he actually founded and created. You know, the world says that if you've tried, that's okay. We have grown up in a culture in the last 20 years, which people get trophies just for trying. You know, I worked really hard. Give me a reward. Give me a raise because I tried. Well, no, it's about delivering excellence. And one of the things that we have prided ourselves on, my wife, Holly, who is my partner in life, my just wonderful soulmate, but she's also the chief financial officer of our company. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. Dr. K, Sister Lady Joy, you can attest to that. But she's brilliant. And one of the things that she did was immediately, with no help from anyone else, she got us up. So even though we're partially destroyed, we're 100% functional and we're delivering excellence. Our clients across the country and across in parts of around the globe, they have no idea what we're going through. And that's exactly the way we want it. We could use all sorts of excuses right now to say, well, you know, you can't get this. We can't meet with you here. We can't do this. But within literally a couple of days, and this happened, by the way, 2 days before Christmas of this year, she brought us up to speed, and now we are delivering excellence, and we're not taking excuses. Well, our building collapsed, and we had this problem, and we were flooded. We deliver excellence because first, we're trusting God. Next, we're blessing others. That next stake is no matter what the circumstances, we deliver. And it's only because of God's grace and his help and his strength, but that's who we lean into. The final one is about doing the right thing. You know, that's often nice to say, but then when you're tested, you know, right now we're in the middle of having our building redone and there are insurance people around and contractors and all those types of things. And when things are destroyed, it's really easy to bend the truth. Well, you know, that wall was probably bad anyway. Let's just go ahead and put that into the insurance claim. That's easy to do, to lump it all together. My wife and I have been very clear, and we've been telling the contractors who don't necessarily know Jesus as their Savior, this is what the insurance company will pay for. This is what Holly and I will pay for. Because it's just so easy. It's just so easy. And so as I've looked at this, these 4 guiding principles, this is what it means, folks, as you're listening across the globe, to build your business on the rock. That when storms come, when winds blow, you're resting in God, you're trusting in Him. You're delivering excellence, doing the right thing. You're blessing others, even though they may not have been a blessing to you. And so as I wrap up, I just really have one final question. And that's, as you reflect, those of you who are business leaders or looking to become business leaders, what are the values that your business is built on? Have they been articulated? Does your team know? And when times are tough, do they see you as the leader emulating those values? Trust God, bless others, deliver excellence, and always do the right thing, because I'll end with this. You know, I've been in business for 40 years, guys. In about a week, I'm going to be 62. I could not be more excited. The older I get, the more on fire I become for God, because He allows me to be a part of His work. And I'm just so grateful. But one of the things that I've realized, especially in business, comes from the book of Proverbs 22, verse 1, where the writer says, a good name is to be desired more than great riches. And I think if there was one thing that I have learned, in addition to these principles that God shared with me that I want to share with you, is to seek a good name. Profits come and go, business, all the accolades from the world, but a good name is to be treasured more than great riches. And hopefully, as we build these businesses that honor God, that the profits of which help to further the gospel, we give God a good name. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for letting me be a part of this wonderful summit, Joel. God bless you all.
Morgan, that was outstanding. Building your business on the rock. We're not talking about Wayne Johnson. I think that's his name, the rock. We're
Right,
talking about Christ Jesus, solid rock. And the 4 principles are trusting God. You can't put your confidence in yourself, and you got to bless others. And like you say, the person that caused the damage, you're praying for him that God will bless his business.
Absolutely.
And then also delivering excellence. That's my middle name. My name is Keith E. Rowe. It's named Elliott, but I say Keith Elliott Excellence Rowe. Joel, if you could put up his contact number so everybody can see it before we transition into the next speaker. And doing the right thing. Many of us, whenever there's a claim, we want to fudge. And then Morgan, talk about your books right here also. This is how you can contact him, morganhill1, msn.com, and go to the website, www.morgandhill.com, and bring him back in, Joel, and he's going to talk about some free ebooks our listening audience can make themselves privy to.
Sure. Well, real quick, I've been privileged to do some writing over the years, and I have 3 faith-based books. I have other books, but 3 faith-based that you can go to morgandhill.com, and you can actually or Amazon, but morgandhill.com is quite simple, and you can actually download free chapters from each of the books. And I encourage you. I have been blessed because, and I'm actually love hearing from the other speakers. I'm a reader. I've been a reader for years, and I've been blessed to read great books by other folks. God shared some things with me that I'm happy to share just for free. Download the chapters. Awesome. We just hope that you do. There are actually ebooks as well, and 100% of the proceeds, not the profits, but the proceeds go towards creating more books. And a large part of what we do with this is I do a lot of prison ministry around the United States. We use the profits to help print more books that we give to inmates to help them know Jesus and to further their walk with God. And we also donate some, Dr. K, for the ministry work that you do around the world to raise funds for widows and orphans and for missions. So you can do e-chapters, download for free. You can do e-books, and then certainly it's always you can get the paperback copies. You can take those with you on trips and on the plane, that you can read those, maybe make some notes in them at your leisure. But the key is we all want to grow in our relationship with the Lord. And whether we're in full-time ministry, we're business and ministry, whatever, we want to glorify and honor God in everything that we do. So I encourage you to download, and you know that when you get something, you're helping someone else.
All right, thank you. So more, Joel put me up so that they can see the books. I have three of the books. The first one he wrote, "What Does It Profit a Man?" And then also "Open the Floodgate," and "A Man is Living Under an Open Heaven." And if you want your business to be under an open heaven, you must be a person of integrity, and you're going to have to trust God. And Morgan and I were in Uganda on the River Nile when the Lord gave him this idea for this book back in 2006. And so you can go to the website, download an ebook from this chapter. And the last one, and I've read all of them, "Go therefore and make disciples." And that's what we're called. We're kingdom ambassadors. So Morgan, what an outstanding presentation, business and the beatitude. Next up, we have, I'm going to let her pronounce her last name, and so I don't slaughter it. So Raimonda, she's originally from Lithuania, and also she lived in London. She's now living in Spain. She's a coach, mentor, entrepreneur, host of the Women Thrive Summit. And she's having a summit coming up, and maybe she'll tell us a little about it. And she's a community advocate and activist. And she's going to be featured in March when we have Women's Month. And she's going to talk about how to survive and thrive in uncertain times in business. Welcome, Raimonda, to the B.E.T. Summit.
Thank you so much, Dr. Keith, and also Joel, for hosting this incredible event and making impact globally. I truly believe in people coming together to make a global impact. And if you are sitting here and watching this video right now and thinking that you do not have the power to make an impact, I want to challenge that thought for you, because we all have the power to make an impact in this world. And in these uncertain times, there are certainly some things that you can do. Because I know as we go into New Year, sometimes we think, okay, this is going to be a new year, exciting year, new opportunities coming forward. And I had this very same feeling when 2020 was just around the corner. I spent the last few months planning our international events. So if you don't know a little bit about me, I am a host for the Women Thrive Summit, and I have a community called the Women in Business Club, which I have created 5 years ago as a passion project to empower and support women in business. So as we started events 5 years ago here, in London, my passion has been to create a community for female entrepreneurs, and we started with hosting events in London. And every time we would host event, people would reach out to us and ask us, when is the next event in another part of the world? Would be in the United States, in Australia, in Africa, in Europe. So 2020 for me was a year we were going into and hoping to make a global impact with our community, with our events, and take our events global. So I spent quite a few months planning and putting together plans. But as people say that, while you're making your plans, God is laughing. So as we were going into 2020, we had an event planned for Atlanta, from London to Atlanta. When I first began creating this event for Atlanta, I only knew one person. By the end of 2 months, at the end of February, we already had more than 2,500 people reached in Atlanta. And as we were watching the pandemic unfold, and we had more than 6 events planned globally that year, I realized that our plans weren't going to work out, and we had to pivot. And what I want to say to you, that as we go into new year with our goals, sometimes we have to realize that sometimes our plans aren't going to work out and we may have to pivot. And for me, this pivot was very, very difficult, because so many people relying on me to create these events and obviously to show up and book their tickets to be part of these incredible events. And as I had to face the harsh reality of having to cancel our international event, the first one as our international expansion, I realized that the challenges we face right now are unique in the world, and unique as in we all facing this challenge of being in COVID and having the global pandemic, and life as we know it is no longer here. It's no longer the same as we known before. So the story of us having to pivot this one event where we would have reached 250 people, had 8 speakers, we managed to actually, once we have canceled the event, I realized that there is something that I can lean on and that I wasn't alone. And we're never alone walking this road. No matter how difficult sometimes things feel, just remember that you're never alone. You always have someone to lean on. You have your community, your family, your faith to lean on. And these challenges are not exclusive. And the more events we have held, the more people I have spoken to, I am constantly reminded that we all as humans go through different challenges. We all go through difficult situations in life. But the one thing that we cannot do is to give up. And if you have a vision, if you have a goal to execute something, you have to pursue that goal and you have to answer the calling, because my calling was to impact the people. And as the pandemic hit and as we have had to cancel our plans, the first night I broke down crying and I asked for God for his guidance in what to do. And I spent 24 hours just being in the moment and trying to understand what were the next steps. And there were 2 options that I was given. I could have given up and said, well, there is pandemic, there is no way we're going to host an event, or I could have pivoted. And my gut feeling was we have to do something. And here is where your power lies in making the best out of the worst situation, that you can still do something, you can still change something, and you still have the power to take action. And it really comes down to your belief. What is your belief system? Do you believe it's possible? For me, it was non-negotiable to make an impact. And I knew as we were facing the global pandemic that I wasn't alone and I wasn't exclusive in that situation. Other people were facing difficult situations as well. So in difficult situations, we have to rise. We have to choose to rise and thrive and find a way forward. For me, the way forward was to create another event, which was a virtual event. And what I did not anticipate was having the amazing response from people, from my community, to say we are here, we are supporting you, we believe in you, and we are going to come with you all along the way. So what would have been 250 people event in Atlanta and 8 speakers ended up turning into 2,000 people event and 32 speakers. We've been able to give our stage to more than 30 speakers during the pandemic to share the voice. And for me, the biggest blessing has been connecting with people globally and giving people hope through our events, giving people the tools, the motivation, the inspiration during the most difficult times in 2020 when we were going through these challenges. And what I didn't know was this particular pivot and this challenge that we face would become the biggest blessing in my life. It has been nearly 3 years since we have made this pivot. In 2020, 2021, we held another event which was highly successful. And through our events, we have been able to support charities that are doing incredible work globally. We have been able to give stages to women to share their voice. We have been able to impact people and change lives. We have been able to empower other women to succeed and thrive in business. First of all, to survive, because the global pandemic has brought so much uncertainty and people felt hopeless. We have been able to bring hope to people, to say, it is possible for you to not only to survive but also thrive. And how can we all go through these challenging times and find a way forward? Some of the things that I can share with you that has helped me to find a way forward, one of those was having a community. Community is a pillar of survival. It's just really the cornerstone of our existence. We as humans, we long for belonging. We want to be part of something greater than ourselves, be it faith, be it local community, be it global community. Um, you have to find yourself a community that resonates with you. And for me, creating my community has enabled me to create greater impact. Impact is another thing that you can do through your work, through your words, through your message. I know so many people have given up on hope during these challenging times, but other people have been able to turn a corner and change their careers, start a new businesses, learn a new skill, and make an impact. Because some people may choose to sit at home and watch TV right now, but some people are choosing to be here today. You are choosing to tune in to the summit and learn something, to be inspired, to be poured into, and be impacted. So you have the power, whether you have a community, whether you have a business, whether you have any resources around you, you have the ability to make an impact. Every single day, I receive messages from women in my community saying, "You are making a difference in my world." Why? Is because I am choosing to share my message. I am choosing to simply reflect back on my experiences, on my life lessons, and share it with the world. Because world needs inspiration. World needs people to guide them through their challenging times. Because remember, we're all going through difficult situations, whether we're going through it now or have gone through it in the past. You're not exclusive. I am not exclusive. I cry. I have the same emotions. I have the same love. I have the same feelings as everybody else on this planet. So because of that, we're able to relate with each other and find love, find passion, find inspiration. And I know the one thing that inspires, and this comes from my experience hosting events and hosting more than 300 speakers through my community and my events, is we all have stories to share. And your story has the opportunity to make an impact and change somebody's world. When there is no belief, you can inspire that belief. So remember that you have the power to change someone's day or someone's life with the power of your story. And the last but not least is people. We have people around us and we can make impact. So today I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Marianne Williamson, to say each of us has a unique part to play in healing of the world. So go out there and heal the world with your message and your work. Thank you so much.
Wow, it's amazing there, Ramonda, outstanding. And you talked about your story. You talked about survival, the community being a pillar of survival. Takes a village. We have heard that. Joel, if you'll put me up, please. It takes a village. And one of the things that was so inspirational from this, when you talked about that first event you was planning, the pandemic hit. You had plans, but God's plan prevailed. You were able to pivot, and then also you pursued your goals. You pursued your dream. But here is where serendipity kicks in. It's where you were planning on doing something, and something happened, and it ended up being a gold mine for you. Put up her contact information as we transition into our last speaker. And then Joel put up on the screen for you to have your questions. And he's going to take several questions from the audience. And Ramonda, you can comment if do you do mentoring I'm sure a lot of women around the world would love to have you as a coach and a mentor. And here's her contact information. You can comment,
Thank you so
Ramonda.
much. Thank you so much. Yes, we are hosting events, and which I didn't mention, as a result of starting the Women Thrive Summit, we have actually now started our own magazine called the Women Thrive Magazine, as well as a publishing platform to create a platform for women to share their voice. And as some of you may know, I have lost my own voice in the process of starting my own business. And for me, this is very personal to create a space. So in this process, I have been able to create not only a magazine, a podcast series, but also a TV show called The Women Thrive. So this has been truly a blessing in disguise.
Put Ramonda up, please. Okay, thank you. Now, you do have an upcoming women's conference, correct?
Yes, that's
Is
correct.
there an upcoming women's conference you'll be hosting?
Yes. So upcoming Women Thrive Summit is happening in March for International Women History Month, and you can visit us at womenthrivesummit.com. The next speaker showcase is happening January, so I would welcome you to just leave your details there and register. And there's so much happening right now with our new magazine and publishing platform being launched. So it has been a truly big blessing in disguise.
All right. We bring these outstanding personalities to you. They are experts in their field, great influencers, and they can help you survive and thrive. Our last speakers we wanted to bring in the Jan Z's and or the Jan A's, and they're none other than Franco and Dario de Silva. And they came up with an invention. They have their own business, and they are creative inventors. It's been patterned, and they are youth entrepreneurs and high school students. They live in San Antonio, Texas, and he spoke at our 2018 Dr. Miles Monroe Kingdom Leadership Summit, and so many people that were there attending that summit. He called me and said, "Dr. Rowe, thank you." And I said, "Thanks for what?" And he said, "After speaking at this summit, so many people invited me to be a part of their platform." And that's what it's all about, connecting people. And I see that you have a gifting and you can be a blessing to the world. I want to expose you. So let's hear Franco and Dario. Dario is the business manager, and young people. You want to tell young people to tune in, and they may have ideas, they may have inventions, and these young men are going to tell you how to do it. Welcome to the B.E.T. Summit.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joel, Dr. K, and everybody here who's listening. We are grateful, very grateful to be here. It's a big blessing to be where we are today, and just God has been so great to us, and we're very grateful for that. I can imagine that many of you people out there and a lot of people around the world have struggled to read and don't enjoy reading as much as they should. DSLIPA is a reading tool that always keeps your page and sets goals and makes you want to keep on setting more goals and reaching them, so it improves your reading stamina. And Franco and I are convinced that DSLIPA will help increase the number of people that not only read or finish a book, but enjoy it, because we think that's very important in our lives. Mr. Joel, can you please put the video?
Or demonstration? So yeah, we are very proud of our product. But before we get into all that, I just want to give a backstory of how Deslipa started in the first place. And it all started when I was in the fifth grade, when I was 10 years old. My class was given a prompt to invent a product that would make the world a better place. And I had no idea what I was gonna write about, or invent, or whatsoever. But then I realized that reading is a very important part of our daily life. So after a lot of planning, this slipper was born because I invented an automatic bookmark that followed a page. And when I presented it to the rest of the class, it was a huge success. And that got me thinking maybe we could make this into business. So we met with the patent lawyer. After 5 long years of battling it out, we finally got our patents.
Thank you, God, so much for this. We are very blessed.
Yeah. And after starting the business, our first struggle was running into production, because it was like we have to find the right business, the right product, like right business price to start at, and it was just like a really long process that we had to get through. But after we got through that big trouble, we had to pass our biggest struggle yet, and it was selling. Like we started our online website. We prepared it all. We had it all ready, and when we launched it, no one visited, no one bought anything. It was like a big struggle for us to even start somewhere, gain any traction. But we learned to adapt from that moment, and we started selling at in-person markets, where actually it was also very slow. But my brother here, our sales manager at 9 years old, would attract all the crowds to their tent to sell, because he's such an outgoing guy and a really nice guy to talk to. So thank you so much, Dara, about that. And we after growing the business, after gaining some traction there, we started wanting to grow a business even more. And like Dr. K said, he invited us to his summit, where I had such a fun experience there, and it was a big learning experience. So thank you so much, Dr. K, for that. And like you said, we networked with a lot of people, and I was able to grow. I was able to network with a lot of important people in the city, and and yeah, grow our business even more, and started actually to do different kinds of business, like business to business, because the Slippa is actually a great promotional item where you can print anything on the body of the bookmark. So it's a great promotional item that we have. And also, our business started to grow even more, so we started to gain some traction from that. And I was able to actually to pitch my idea to a panel of judges, and I was actually able to win that competition for the my age category. And it was like a really big blessing for us, because we were able to earn funding money to grow our business even more from there. But then COVID struck, and that was a big problem for us.
As COVID struck, I know a lot of businesses can relate. It kind of goes a bit downhill sometimes. There was some problems and drawbacks in the production. The people that produced the Dislipa also got struck by COVID, so there was some troubles there as well. And also sales. Dislipa at that point had mainly been more in person, more going to summits, at markets. That's how we got to know more people, network, and those people that we met told more of their friends, who then bought on the website. And so Dislipa would have been really good for the online market as well, for COVID especially. But due to our lack of knowledge, and we're in high school, we got to keep those grades up, and just we're in a lot of other activities as well, such as the orchestra and the band. It has been quite a struggle to keep it up and going. And we're teenagers, we're rebels, and it's sometimes we lose motivation. Sometimes you want to fit in more with the group. But we want to get Dislipa back up and running again, and get it to the next level and get it even higher. And this summit marks the beginning of that, and we are so thankful and grateful that we have been invited.
So throughout it all, we've learned a lot of valuable lessons throughout, and it's been really helpful for us to grow as a business, but also us as people. Like Dara and I have grown a lot from this experience. And one of the values that we learned or lessons was that keep it simple. Our product, like you saw in the video and here, it's very simple and easy to do. But when I first started the project, when I first started thinking of what to invent, I thought of a really complicated machine that could follow your page. But some of the best things in life are very simple, are the most simple things in life. Also, what I learned is that you have to keep going, never give up. This patent took 5 long years, and it was not an easy ride. We got rejected 2 times. Uh, don't know why, but it was very tough for us to keep on working for this patent for 5 years. But we kept with it, and we were finally able to get it. Also, and I think this is the most important one, and the one that I struggle the most with, is that you have to dare to be different. It's always a struggle for me to get myself out of the crowd, follow the crowd. But your mind is amazing. What you think of what you think of is can be $1 million idea, and you have to believe in yourself and trust God that you'll make the correct decisions and do the best for yourself and others. So you have to be going out of your comfort zone. So thank you so much for listening. Yeah.
Yes. How old are you now, Dario?
I am 14, turning 15
How old are
in
you now?
14.
And then at 9 years old, you were the marketing manager, guru for the slipper. And
Yes.
then Franco, you are now how old?
I am 17 years old now.
How old are you now, Franco?
I'm 17.
17. And he said, right, keep simple, keep going, don't quit, dare to be different. You hear that, young people? And you have $1 million mindset and idea. Trust God and believe in yourself, and it can happen. Joel, let's put up their contact information. And as you can see, that also their business hit a hurdle. Put up the SIPA contact information. I'm good looking, but they need to see their contact information, Joel. There it is. Dario, how can people contact you? Now, both of you answer to the call tags for Facebook and Instagram, and then they can go to your website.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Our
Okay.
our website is on also on our social media account, and I think that's the most direct way to contact us through direct message on our social media accounts.
Okay. Before we go to taking questions from the audience, Joel, be prepared. Bring everybody back in. Bring everybody back in, please. Now it's a family affair for you. Your mom, she's the business manager because you're in high school, and your dad really put up the bug there. We would like for them to come in. I know that this is your show, but you all won the family award, the family award for being outstanding in business. It was a surprise to you at our Kingdom Leadership Summit. Morgan also was a recipient for Statesman Award or Business. I can't remember which one, but it was a family affair. And so while we're taking questions, maybe yours can come in at the end. They can have a word to say to other parents that to discover what's inside of your children, and then put up the money, and then you can see the benefits and the results. All right, Joel, you take it
Here.
there. Let's have some questions, and to our panelists, try to keep it short that we answers so that we can get many questions answered. I so many comments, and they were just intrigued by this panel. All right, Joel. There's the family. All right, let's just have them say something while they're there. Jorge and then Daniela. All right, you want to say something before we take questions from the audience?
Well, Dr. K, always thankful to you and all the people that we have met through you. So here we are again. Like Franco said and Dario said, this is the beginning of the next stage right? So, and I think we owe that to you. So again, thank you for having us.
Yeah, for the opportunity. These guys are amazing students and looking forward for what's next. So we really want to thank you and inspired by all the speakers. You are also great inspirations to these young guys who are just starting and learning from you. So we want to thank everybody out there.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. You may want to stay there because maybe some questions may be that directed towards the parents as well. Okay, take it from there, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. And that was such an amazing presentation by each and everyone. While as the adverts was going on for the sleeper, I was watching the manager dancing. That's Dario. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, we've got a whole lot of questions. The first question is coming from Nigeria, from a lady from Nigeria. And then she said, what do I need to do to succeed in my business? It hasn't been so successful lately. She said, what do I need to do to succeed in my business?
Okay, I guess everybody can answer that. It's not directed to
Okay.
anyone specific.
Well, I'll throw out some thoughts, and certainly it's always great as I have a wonderful partner, my wife Holly, as the other business leader. But I guess there are a couple of things that I've discovered when things aren't going exactly right. Is one, do you have something that people want? In the early stages of our business, we were going down a certain path with certain products and services as we do, again, retirement planning. Our business really exploded when we made the strategic, very difficult, but the strategic decision to expand to be more of a full service firm where we do legal, we do tax, we do investment, we do risk management. I had to go back to school at the age of 50 to get extra education, extra licensing. We had to make take some risks to invest. So one of the things that I would just share is if it's not going exactly the way you want it, kind of reassess what maybe the people are wanting. And then as Ramona's mentioned, pivot. And we pivoted probably 10 or 12 years ago. And again, it was very, very challenging. But I got extra education, went back to certain schooling, etc. And now because of that, we have some strategic advantages in our business that actually help us weather some very difficult storm. Our business, by the way, during the pandemic from 2019, then into 2020, 21, we have reached our highest levels of business success and profitability during the pandemic.
All right, Ramonda, right quick.
Yeah, I would say do something you haven't done before. Try something new. Get yourself out of comfort zone. A lot of the times we get too comfortable in our own businesses and we don't try new tactics. Sometimes you got to try something new and look at your lowest hanging fruit. Are there places where you can reach out to start collaborations? Can you become more visible? Are there places that you can get your business out there? Sometimes we overlook small things that can be done that would make the biggest impact. So look at the lowest hanging fruit and do something you've never done before. Go outside your comfort zone, maybe start some lives and do collaborations with people.
Amen.
All right, Franco and then Mario, any comments about this from young minds?
I would say that you have to believe in your product. You got to believe in what you have, and you have to do it, or you do it because you want to do it, not based on what others say or tell you to do. And
Yeah. Also, as Dr. K has said many times, it takes a village. You need support from others, and also you have to give back to your community for all the support they've given you.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Okay, we have another question. Dr. K, you want to say something about that?
All right, thank you. Another question, Joel.
Okay, we have another question. And this man said, must I do business? Does the Bible support business?
No, you keep going with the questions. Let's answer from the list because we didn't do that last time. And when I'll just.
We can't hear you, sir. We can't hear.
Go ahead and ask the next question. Next question,
Okay,
please.
the next question is coming from Sierra Leone, and this individual is asking, "Must I do business? Must I do business? Does the Bible support business?" This is a Christian. This is a core Christian, and he's trying to know whether the Bible supports what we're doing, what we've been talking about business.
Anyone want to jump in? Or I'm actually looking up a passage in the Bible.
Amanda has been smiling. I don't know. Probably she likes the
I'll
question.
yeah, I'll dive in. I believe it's in Deuteronomy 8:18. It's actually on the front cover of one of my books, or the inside cover. It says in Deuteronomy 8:18, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth." His words. First of all, we want to be just in line with how God calls each of us. But in my own journey, I thought that I was going to be just a pastor or an evangelist and do quote unquote full-time ministry. I ran away from God. Dr. K, Joel, you actually know my story. I ran away from God for many years and said, I'll just be a secular businessman because I can't love the Lord, do business, and, I can't do both. It's an either or. And God, I will shorten the story, but God brought me to a point about 20 years ago where He said, "Son, you've been running away from me for all the wrong reasons." He brought me back to Himself. And in addition to just saving me and redeeming me, He began to educate me on how we can serve the Lord through our business. It's not one or the other, it's both. I'm actually able to do more ministry and have more impact and get into more audiences through the business platform than perhaps I ever did if I was just Pastor Morgan Hill. But what I want to share with the person who asked this question is, when Jesus left in Acts chapter 1 and He ascended into heaven, we all became foreign missionaries in enemy territory until we're called home or until He returns. We're all called into ministry. So if you're a teacher, awesome, you're in ministry. If you're a doctor, awesome, you're in ministry. If you're called to be a full-time pastor, wonderful, you're in ministry. If you're like Ramonda, you're in ministry. If you're like Franco and Dario, you're in ministry. And I think it's important that we as believers, we erase the lines that have been drawn by the world that says, I can be a this or a that. I'm a big believer of a this and a that. So to the person who posed that question, I would encourage you to move in the calling of God, but don't think it's one or the other. You can do both.
Wow.
Ramonda?
Fantastic. Well, I have another quote from the Bible as well, which says, it's Proverbs 11:14. It says, "Without the guidance of a good leader, a nation falls, but many good advisors can save it. It is crucial to have a kitchen cabinet of advisors for your small business. Your business will not survive on your experience alone. Pull together 4 to 5 people who are invested in your success. The group should include an existing entrepreneur, a customer, a mentor, a lawyer, and an accountant. Seek out a mastermind, a group, or peer-to-peer mentoring program to help as well." That just shows that you can't do it all alone. We all need mentors, guides, support community, and we can do it together. And there's another one that I found, which is Timothy 1, chapter 7. "For the Spirit God gives us does not make us timid, but gives us the power, love, and self-discipline. Fear is the enemy of entrepreneurship. God wants us to go out with the power He gives us to pursue our ideas in business." So these are the quotes that really resonate
Thank
for
you,
me
Franco.
from the Bible.
Okay, thank you. Franco, DeMario, and then Joel. Let's take 3 more questions. If you don't have an answer, if they said it all, you don't have to feel you have to give an answer. You can bypass that question if you don't have anything.
Well, we have another
Okay.
quote that
All right, Joel. Go ahead.
we have a quote that Jesus
Okay,
said,
go ahead.
"Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's."
And what that means is that, like, to us, is that, like, business is helpful. It helps our community. It helps everyone to an extent. You can't be greedy and hurt the community, and you have to support everyone. So, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. All right, let's take three more questions.
Okay. We have another question from a participant, and then she said, "An introvert that finds it difficult to maintain quality customer relationship in a business, what should he or she do?"
Where's this call
An
question
introvert.
coming from? Where's the
It's
question
coming
coming
from
from?
Nigeria. It's coming from Nigeria, sir.
Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And an introvert, what do you say to introverts?
That
Franco,
finds it.
introvert, hard for you. All right,
Yeah,
Franco, how did you overcome?
I used to
Go
be a
ahead.
very big introvert, and I was very I didn't talk to many people. I just talked to my friends. I didn't really let myself out there. But after basically starting this business, I really started to talk more. I just found the courage to just talk to one person at least at a market and try to sell to them, because it was very hard at the beginning. I would try to avoid people or just stay in the tent and let the people walk in.
What I would say as well is that you gotta face your fears. If your fear is of public speaking, go for it. Go for the fear, and great things will come. I promise you.
Dr. K, Joel, if I could piggyback on what Franco and Dario
All
just
right,
mentioned.
Morgan or Ramonda?
I'll just share something briefly, and I would love to hear Ramonda's
Sure.
comments as well. But, I think it's a misconception that introverts would struggle in business and that extroverts are successful. Let me share why. Extroverts have a tendency, and I would count myself among them, that sometimes our energy and our over vocalization can actually put people off. And it can be a detriment to business because we extroverts need to be better listeners. Because in business, listening to what the customer or what that other person wants is crucial. Introverts, I find, are very, again, by their nature, introspective. They're thoughtful, they're good listeners. And so, what I would encourage this person who framed the question is don't see yourself as an introvert as being a detriment or an extrovert being a plus. Realize that you're a good listener and you're probably more relational than you give yourself credit for. Find a way to bridge that gap rather than thinking I need to be an extrovert, otherwise I can't be successful in business, because I quite frankly just haven't found that to be true. Introverts have wonderful attributes that can really connect with people, but you have to overcome maybe the stigma of that in your relationships.
Good answer. Good answer. Ramonda.
Some wonderful comments. I really love everyone on the panel today and their comments. I am actually an introvert myself, and I would say, as introverts, we're probably more of empaths. So, as Morgan said, work on those strengths and more practically build in systems and processes in your business that maybe doesn't require that face-to-face interaction, if that is what you're afraid of. And also, facing your fears has been an amazing comment, which I really, really love. So, you got to go out of your comfort zone, and over time you will become comfortable with that. In the end of the day, you're representing yourself and your business. But build in systems and processes in place that makes it a little bit easier for you to deal with, or if you can put another person who can be in charge of your customer relations.
All right, Joel, two more questions, please.
Okay. We're out of questions right now. We've not had any other as of now.
Okay. All right. I'll ask a question, and then that'll be it. And then won't you do this? Won't you put up the sign of how people can make an investment into having more summits such as these? And let's get the studio up to par. And we thank Morgan, even in the midst of, and he doesn't like this, he is a servant and he gives behind the scene and whatnot. But in the midst of his adversity with his business, you were still committed to your word. I even said, okay, Morgan, if you don't have to do it, and others that have given to help with this, put up that slide and you talk, Joel, of how the next summit, when it rolls around, we're going to have the studio up to par, up and running with lights, more computer, more cables, so we won't have a breakage in the internet. And then I will close with the panel asking them a question. Won't you talk about this slide, the
Okay,
next
all
two
right.
slides?
Okay, all right. I want to say I want to say a very big thank you to Dr. Keith Rowe. Thank you so very much. Thanks so very much for this opportunity. For this summit to be possible, we have amazing partners that made this possible, and we're able to get a studio, we're able to get a laptop, and we're trying to get more further equipment to make a more perfect production to reach. Our target is 1 million souls, and we want to raise $10,000 to get equipment to make this possible. We have a bronze sponsor from Nigeria that gave $100. We've got Sandra Road and Wisdom Pumps. There's our
So
silver
we don't have to
sponsors.
go back to the ones that
Okay,
give and just tell them what they need to do, please. Yes.
okay, all right. So
They-
you can donate to the Cash App. We've got our Cash App address, and then also um, you can give to Faith Network accounts. Okay, you can give to Faith Network accounts. If you're in Nigeria, you can give and make an investment, make a donation, so that we can have a more excellent production and get more equipment to reach more souls. And then also, if you're outside Nigeria and the United States, we've got our dollar accounts for those in Canada, Australia, and other parts of the world. We believe that by doing so, we are equipped to have a more perfect production. Thank you, Dad.
All right. Thank you, Joel, for hosting this. Thank you. At 25 years old, this is your vision. And like I said, I want to push you up front and we want to bring you in with our alliance partners and people impressed with you. I'm proud of you. And I have to pass the baton on to you and Franco and Dario. It's just like a pop up. Your children got to outshine you, outproduce you,
Mhm.
and yet still at the end they take care of you. So when you come into your billions, you're going to take care of me and Mama Joy and Morgan and all of that made it happen to you. So you can keep that up. And so we're going to bring in everybody, and then the last will be first now, and the first will be last. And I want to ask you a comment, and then you can put up their contact information. We'll start with the De Silvers. Put their contact information up. We want to thank you all for being excellent influences and being on the panel. And so if you want to get in contact with the Slipper, you can take down the send the contribution. So yes, there you go. So they're on Instagram, Facebook, and their website. And you want to get that reading apparatus, and they'll be speaking again at our 2022 Kingdom Conference here in Houston. And so you may want to make your way, those of you in the States, to hear these young men. All right, put everybody's up, and then I'm going to ask a question. And then we're going to ask you to give a call to action. I'm going to ask you something from one of the points that you gave. Keep going and don't quit, to the Franco and DeMario. And you were young people in the fifth grade, 9 years old, and you were just laden down with a lot of schoolwork. It took 5 years before you got the pattern for this product and invention. Discuss very briefly the moment that you wanted to throw in the towel, but then there was a big turnaround for you, and then give us a close of action of what you want the people to take from your presentation.
So I think it all stemmed from COVID. And also, like Dara said, we're teenagers and we have a lot of schoolwork to do. But mainly COVID, we were lacking. We were like we
We
just
didn't
like
see the numbers come up as we wanted them to, and as we're kids, we sometimes focus on that a bit too much. And so, yeah, it was kind of a struggle, but now we want to bring it back up. We decided we know that this could become great and will become great if we work hard for it. And
Okay, so now you've been inspired to bounce back. Okay, give us a call to action. What would you want our listening audience and viewers, and more people will come on after this presentation and this StreamYard platform and listen to this. And so give us a call to action, especially the young people and maybe the parents to young people. If it wasn't for your parents believing in you and saying we're going to be the business manager as well as fund your project, what would be a call of action you want to give and you want to close out with?
I would say be different. You just gotta believe in yourself. You have $1 million idea in your mind. God knows you do, and God put you here for a reason. You gotta believe in yourself and go for it.
So yeah, believe in yourself. That's a
Okay.
very. Oh yeah. Yes. So yeah, believing in yourself is a very.
Okay, believe in yourself. All right. God has a plan and purpose for you. All right. So that's the call to action to you from Franco and Diario. All right. Thank you, Joy. All right. Ramonda, I want to ask you something from you said you cried bucket of tears, but yet still you kept on digging and you struck gold. What would you say to people that something just really that you planned devastate you? What would you say to them as they can keep digging, right goal, and give a call to action, please?
Absolutely. Well, there is certainty in life that we are going to face challenges, and whatever you have to do, whether you have to cry, whether you have to pull your hair out and bang the walls, you do that. You can express yourself and your feelings, but in the end of the day, you have to realize that we all have to pick ourselves back up. And if you want to achieve anything in life, you have to adapt a mindset of a winner, of someone who is willing to go out there and fight for it. And in life, we're all going to face challenges. That is certainty, but it's how you keep getting up that's going to determine your level of success and where you're going to go in life. So think about your bigger vision, your purpose, because you are here on this earth for a purpose and for a reason. So remind yourself, what is the purpose? Why am I doing this? And that purpose will pull you in the right direction no matter the challenge. So I want to encourage you all to stay positive, to take this year, face the challenges, and remember, keep getting up and keep going, because you are here for a purpose and you're here to make an impact, and surround yourself with the right community, with the right mentors, and you will succeed. You will get there.
Amen.
All right. Stay positive. Face the challenges. Keep up and make an impact because you've been put here on purpose. I like that. Morgan, lastly, what would you say? So many people, like you say, they just want to be mediocre in business. And that was so encouraging to hear at 50. You had to pivot and you had to go back to school. Are you ever too old to learn? And what would you say to some people that may have an idea of wanting to have a business and they feel, well, I'm too old to do this, and give us a call to action?
Well, one of my favorite characters in the Bible is Caleb. And at the age of what's believed scripturally to be 85, he said, give me another mountain, give me another battle, because I'm ready. I have found that at age 62, in a couple of weeks, I could not be more excited about the fact that I'm not only a child of God, but I get to help Jesus in his work. I guess what I would share, and I kind of, as I've been privileged to listen to all these other conversations and wonderful questions, you're never too old, you're never too fill in the blank to be successful. But what I would want to close with is the why. There's a lot of times where I'll focus on what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, with whom I'm doing it, but sometimes I don't focus on why am I doing it. And as I think back to my age, I'm 50. Why am I going to go back and do this? When in 2008, we talk about COVID. Back in 2008 and 2009, we had the Great Recession. There was a day that I basically parked my car in front of a lake looking at the ducks and was seriously wondering whether my wife and I would ever make payroll, if we were going to be in business the next year. Someone was wanting to file a lawsuit against us for trademark infringement that was unbiased. All these issues were coming. We needed to change our business model. I was 48, 49 years of age. And as I sat there and I stared out at these ducks on the lake, I'll never forget, it was a wonderful, beautiful afternoon at about 2:00. And I seriously wondered, are we going to survive? And I began to think about, why would I do this? And what I believe the why of business is that we're called as business leaders to not only make an impact, as Ramonda and Franco and Dario have talked about, but it's also to use the profits of our businesses to help fund kingdom work and to help fund the Great Commission to win souls for Jesus. That's the reason that God gives us the ability to produce wealth. So what I would share is, as we wrap up, for me, is understand your why. Be prayerful about why you're doing this. And I think when you know your why, you can barrel through whatever, what, how, or who may be your challenge.
All right. Thank you, all three of you, for being outstanding guests, outstanding influencers. All right, Joel, won't you pray for them and you can have the last word. And we're going to close tomorrow. You want to tune in as we have our P3 praise, prophet, and prophetic proclamation. We'll have Pastors Tommy and Prophetess Brenda Todd. We'll have Dr. Keith Roll and Lady Joy, Pastor Greg Thurston. We'll have Jay Sachs, a Nigerian, a music artist. He's going to be live in the studio. It's going to be upbeat. It's going to be different from this format and forum. And then we have Nadine and Theo. They're going to do a dance. And Sanat, we're going to close with a song that she's done, Always Win. In 2022, you are a winner. And I heard this echoing from each one of your presentation. So Joel, we thank you again. We thank our guests. We thank our viewers, and invite other people tomorrow to be a part of this amazing summit as we conclude the first for 2022, all things new in 2022. Joel?
Amen. Thank you so very much, Dr.
Close us out.
Kidro. Thank you for this very opportunity. Thank you so very much, highly esteemed Morgan Hill. Thank you for blessing us so much tonight. Thank you, Franco and Ariel de Silva. Thanks so very much. And then thank you, Ramanda. One last question. Someone is saying, she said, what in the world do I need to do to become and speak more like Ramanda? So that's amazing. Thank you. That shows the life that you've touched. We've had about life on a life from 5 different nations of the world. Thank you so much. And we believe that as the day go on, that the views and participation of nations would greatly increase. Thank you. And we're anticipating greater works tomorrow by 10 p.m. Nigerian time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.